Well, the number to WhatsApp, and thank you for staying, is 054-740-2488. 054-740-2488. You send your WhatsApp messages and I'll read it out for you. So let's get interactive. 054-740-2488. Doc, are we going to now shoot ourselves in the foot with regards to, look, every district now run your own separate election and elect whoever wants to become a DC, and then he comes to serve the president? But at the moment, the law says that the president will elect. You know, if it takes 4 to 3 people, you know, they locally decide out of this selected people who they prefer. But this time, the president has no say. You go out there, those who think they want to be DC, bring themselves forward. So we are in an MPP era. Assuming out of the 216, let's say, 150 of them were DCEs. I mean, aren't they going to just hold this country to ransom?
That is called a sabotage argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
a sabotage.
So what you're saying typically or essentially is that if 150 out of 216 districts were controlled by, let's say, the opposition NDC, they're going to make it difficult for the government.
Health, slow down development for people who say, he's not releasing any money. Let's kick the government out so we can put the NDC's guys in there so we can move faster.
It's not that easy. I mean, what we should remember is that local government is the lowest tier. You know, it's the local, it's not the central government. It's a unitary state, enormous powers in the hands of the central government, the president. He determines the budget, the resource allocations. There might be a formula, but he has responsibility for the whole country. In certain decisions made at the center only have to be implemented locally and so on. So that in a situation where you have 150 districts in the hands of an opposition party, the opposition party, for them to satisfy. In fact, when you're in charge of the local district, you have greater responsibilities than the president. The president has taken himself out, but it's not entirely lost all his powers. He still has economic power. He has, financial power. He controls the army. He determines the economic and political direction of the country. Essentially, at the local level, you are implementing some of his policies, except that in a multi-party system, there would also be a sphere for you to look at local needs, because certain specific needs of the locality would have to be solved, and spaces have to be there for you to act, in a self-reliant way. So it's local self-governance that you promote, but it's not. It doesn't make you an independent state. You can't rival the president. You can't take it. So what would work? Sabotage is always part of the human trait. But if you're in the local government and you're going to sabotage the president, that means that you are not going to invest the monies that are transferred to you from the common fund into providing the services that your people want, into solving the problems that they need in education and health, or whether it's roads or sanitation, or even investing in the economy, the local economy, to make sure that massive production or harvest would not, be wasted and so on, or find out a way in which those who are producing a lot of tomatoes and yams and so on could also engage other districts and make sure that these things are transported or processed or stored somewhere and so on. That kind of, so there is work, that responsibility that is directly yours. Okay.
So let me chip in here then.
Okay.
So let's say I'm the DC of this area, and District Assembly Common Fund is due in 6 months' time. So I know clearly that Dr. Kwete is a book supplier, and I can talk to him so that, look, give me the books in 6 months' time, maximum 8 months, I'll pay you. But I just go to the books and, well, I'm buying it, knowing very well that, look, I could go, if it was my president in power, I'll go and negotiate, sweet talk these guys, these vendors, look, you supply me, when the money comes, I'll deal with you. But in this case, he doesn't want to do it, because the whole idea of power is that, look, they have to look bad, so we also get a chance of coming.
No, it won't work. It won't work in two ways. At the local level, you have to solve problems, development problems, clearly.
But
and you cannot,
the funds coming from central.
No, well, the funds comes from the center, but you know the president is elected in a popular vote throughout the country. And it is in the interest of the president that his policies are also implemented. And so you may be in the opposition, he's from a different party, but the president has to work with you. You have to work with the president well to get more money for your district to do what you do. And the president has to work with you to get some of the policies, certain policies that he wants to get implemented across the country done. Otherwise, you're all going to hurt yourselves, because the more money you need, you know, the greater the chances that you would have to negotiate with the president, who controls the central institutions. Okay? And so you cannot just sit there and say, well, the money is not coming, I'm not doing anything. Your people, there are other people in your party who may be working well with the president, although he comes from a different party, because they are there to solve the problems of the people. They are not there just to sit and sabotage. No, over the 4 years or 2 years or 3 years that you say you sabotage, I do not think that everybody in your party controlling some other district in the 150 are going to do the same thing. It will be so obvious. And you could be thrown away from the people, because you see, once the president, we are electing them, and we are electing them on the basis of parties, as you've said. You cannot blame the president for what? You not getting the money and not using it to address the problems of your people?
You see, at the moment, I mean, every DC that's starved of money would come and sweet talk the people, would very hardly come and say, oh, central government, they're doing it again, they're not bringing our money. No. But if I were the DC of an opposition party, yeah, well, I'm not sort of V8 in our team, and they haven't given us money to do fumigation. You know, these people have done that, and they haven't given money for this. So there will be always this negative news being spread.
But the central government will be present. By the way, once the president, cedes that power, and we are electing DCEs or MMDCEs, and through the parties putting up candidates and so on, what you find is that the president would not directly control the districts, but the president will still govern. The president is going to work through the public services, you know, that will be the instruments through which he governs. And so what you have clearly is that we are going to create a situation where smart politicians who would have a way, know how to work with the president and with the institutions, would be able to mobilize the resources they need to develop. Okay, and the president also has an interest in the district, although they are not directly appointed people as they're doing, as we've known it, but he would like to see certain policies. For example, he feels that free senior high, and he feels that the numbers should increase, so he says, look, I can offer more money, or the quality of education should be looked at, or more teachers trained. You know, it will become a matter of which districts. You know, where should the new training institutions be located? Or which training institutions should be expanded, and so on. These are things you compete for. And you want to negotiate and tell the president, it is better in my... So there would be political deals done, but it is, you have to show results at the end of the day, because otherwise the people would not believe you that the president who is sitting far away, we elected you to serve us, and you're sitting and you say the president is not giving you the money, then it means that you are not skillful enough. Because they will see some other members of your party probably doing better. And they will ask you, but how come this person, this same person from this party, has been able to look at their grades, the children, or look at the opportunities they are creating for the youth to work, and you are sitting and say the president, they'll throw you out. They'll throw you out. So it is not, it is a system that would work well. And I must say that it is probably the most important decision made since the promulgation of the 1992 Constitution that brought this, you know, democratic stability, because it is going to change our politics. If you amend Article 55, and particularly 55.3, the constitutional basis of the winner takes all is taken out.
Wow.
You understand? The president no longer appoints and the assemblies approve. Okay, it says local is your business. But of course, you have to operate within the laws. You know, there are budgetary procedures you should follow. there's a national development plan and priorities of the central government that you should implement, but you would have scope. Maybe more money will be transferred to you, but the heat, talk to MPs, you know, and how those who voted for them, all the communities they represent, they travel to them in Accra, and so why? Because they said, we voted for you. At the moment, they don't vote directly for the DCEs or MMDCEs.
Is that where the disconnect is?
Yes, there's a bit of disconnect. Our people understand, you know, they understand their power, that we voted you to give us something, and you are not serving our needs, and we'll vote you out. You know, that's what it is. People have that power, that consciousness now, and it's growing by the day, which also means that they do not have a large, you know, tolerance, you know, level. They want things quickly, you know. President, you said you fight corruption. We just want to see the results now. They don't care whether there is a process and there's a law and so on. At the end of the day, they want to see, have you punished those who were corrupt? Have you taken back some money? Have some gone to prison? Has levels reduced and so on? So results would govern that. And at the local level, it will be the direct relationship will be more with the chief executives and the assemblies.
You seem to have answered my next question, but I'm still going to ask you for clarification.
Which one?
That, you know, recently the majority leader, say Chairman Saboso, they're doing you know, a tour around the nation, knowing your MP, and trying to educate people that, look, we are lawmakers. We are not development agents, and that the DCE is the guy you need to hunt. And I realized that the pressure on the DCE is not as much as it is on the MP. This, that. I mean, what the DCE is just around the corner, which...
Yes.
So I'm wondering, if we vote for the DCE, are we going to give them the same level? Or
if actually the DCEs are going to be more powerful, because when we elect on the basis of parties, a lot more decentralization, financial and administration is going to take place. A certain level of autonomy, their level of autonomy now would increase somewhat. And so there are local decisions you make, and a lot more money would come, except that there will be mechanisms to ensure that you're using the money properly, you know, for what it is and so on, because that would be the basis of you getting your next tranche or even getting an increment in the results you show. So the focus is going to shift from the politics of who got this money and so to delivery, development, public services. You know, are you able to ensure that, you know, a lot more of the children in the village are in schools, you know, and are they doing well in the BECs and other exams, or they are not, you see? And what job opportunities are you creating? And because they vote for you, they simply understand this as the social contract. I voted for you, you said, you came and talked sweet and said you would improve our living standards, and we would also have TV and electricity and good roads and, you know, good housing and the aspirations, the material aspirations and so on. And you are not doing any of those. Because they voted for you and they also voted for MP, but you have the cash, you are close to them, why would they travel all the way to Accra? You see, and the MP in this time, why I think that the system would also get the MPs working is that when a lot more money goes to the district and the chief executive is elected, assembly people will be elected. The effect of amending Article 58 is that the assembly would also, once you amend it, it means that the prohibition on political parties is removed. So they can contest assembly elections as well.
I'm going to take a quick break here, and then when I come back, I just want to find out that just something you said just drew my attention, which means the DC would have to come around and also make promises, because at the moment the DC hasn't promised us anything. You just find him in office, he comes, gets his goats, his bottle, and then he goes away because he comes over here. Whereas the MP comes around and says, I'll give you this, I'll give you that, and therefore there's something. Because
he has to say that for you to vote for him.
So the DC now has to join that.
Yes, he has to join that. And so you hold him accountable. Because he says, hey, Charlie, this is what you said to me. You know.
Well, it's 054 740 2488. 054 740 2488. I'll just take a couple of messages and then come to Studio Says, good evening, Nana. Electing MMDCEs is going to breed serious corruption. At the same time, it will bring disunity among members considering the way we do our campaign. I think it's a good thing the president continues to appoint. This is Arabati inside Usu. Christopher in Norway. I love listening to academics than politicians. Doctor is doing well. Nana, more academics than MPs on PM Express. This is Christopher in Norway. I hope it's not too cold in Norway. This one says, just to add that the situation is, no, okay, you came here, says, good evening, I'm watching from Cameroon, very interested in the peace discussion in Togo. Can you also have some insight on the situation in Cameroon where, oh, don't call this number, it's a WhatsApp number. Can you also have some insight on the situation in Cameroon where so many people have been displaced, both internally and across the borders into Nigeria? Just to add to the situation is due to war. The number is just a WhatsApp line, so if you call it, I won't be able to pick it up, please. It's just a WhatsApp line. And yeah, Doc, I'm going to go to the special prosecutor, but this idea of, I'm not using it badly, but you know, the promise mongering, the DC has to join it, and therefore, like you said, now we have a contract. Because at the moment, all you see is that, oh, as soon as he has been elected as a DCE, if you're a chief like me, you're lucky you pass through, come and politely say hello, and then they go. So, but this time they would have to come village to village.
You have to work. You have to look. Political parties, you know, are also development actors, and it's in local government that they perform best. All the countries that we've seen develop, if you take China, you hear about the Communist Party. It's rooted in local areas, solving problems, working with the communities and informing the government what the issues are, what the priorities should be, what resources to come. And in that development arena, they guarantee that the money is used for what it's meant to. Yes, there will be corruption, but there will be punishment as well, you know, and so on. So it is development that we want to see. So the question is, when the parties have been out, formally they couldn't for the last 25 years, what have we seen? We've been so dissatisfied with the level of development in the districts, with the service provision in the districts. The divisions are there. You know, there are certain districts that we are a nation, but they insist that if you don't come from this place, you cannot be appointed DC and so on and so on. So that these divisions, actually, it is this reform that is going to bring us together a little bit more, because it is going to bring inclusiveness in a way that, let me give you an example. If somebody had lived in the area and is popular and he's elected, he's elected. You can't say, President, take him, we won't accept him. It's the decision of the people. But once you're elected for what? Once the parties get in, you know, parties come not only with people, they have ideas. They would say, look, within 2 years, we are going to solve this problem. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and that will change the situation. So they are held to it, and they make sure there are people they can work with. In fact, once the parties get involved in the local level, they are going to take greater interest in the institutions and their professionalism, because the time is short. You have to deliver. With little resources, you have to achieve a lot more. And what is happening in our democracy is that the levels of demand are rising, and the quality that people want is also growing. So you have to perform. You know, in the absence of the party, what we have is that we have other forces, you know, spinning the corruption. You hear a lot about financiers who financed the election of this person or that person, or who lobbied for the president to appoint this or that, and what were the terms and so on. But this time you are going to hold parties accountable, and you can vote them out. The power belongs to you.
I know because of time, but on the subject of accountability, can we quickly switch to Batman? And when I say Batman, and I've said this before, let me say again. Someone sent a message to a radio station saying that the president electing Martin Amidu as special prosecutor is like electing Batman as the IGP. Now, IDEG, I know corruption has been on your radar for a long long time.
Yes.
What's your position of Martin Amidu as the special prosecutor?
I think we've spoken and said we think he's competent. I watched the vetting, the number of hours, how he handled questions. But Mr. Martin Amidu is also, a man of many parts, and he displayed all of that. The activist in him, the profession in him, the man who cares, and the man who is hard and wants to go after criminals and open in every way and so on. So people will find different things in him that they like. But at the end of the day, does he have the competence to do the job? And nobody doubts it. I mean, I was quite moved by the fact that soon after they finished with all the hard questions coming from both sides of the House, it was reported that they had already unanimously endorsed him. Mm-hmm. And that testifies to the quality of person he is and what they assessed he would do. You need a strong person sometimes, with a strong mind, a determination and a passion, a commitment to serve the public interest. Because you're dealing with forces who place public interest second, their selfish interest overrides. So if we can have more people who would turn, the order of things, then resources would go where they are needed to bring about development. That is why I think people should disabuse their minds that if you open up the districts or the chief executives to be elected by parties, it's going to be more corruption. No, there will be more controls. Actually, the amendment would lead to a whole lot of reforms and controls in the system now. And the people who are rather going to lose may be financiers, because you have to control your party, pay your subscription, so that when you put things on the table, they listen to you, and then make sure that they need your vote. Sometimes even going to contest national elections, they will have to show the record. So local government is the area that they would learn, and they will prove that they have capacity to serve a bigger need, and so on and so forth. So it's going to change many things, and I think much more than we realize. It's also going to bring us together, because nobody will be on the margins after elections and doing nothing but elections for 4 years. You'll be too busy. After the elections, you have to now go and solve problems in the districts, and you have to talk to the president, and the president has to work with you. It changes the dynamics. So it's quite an important reform that we need. With time, I think the education would go on. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time getting people to allay their fears, and the support is growing anyway.
You think it will shake the system?
Yes, it will. We're going to see more development. It's not going to cure all the problems, because we'll have to still fight, but I think the institutions are going to grow stronger. I think the division of labor will be clearer for us. I am hoping...
But would there be competition, though?
Yes, there will be competition.
That's NDC MP in District 1 and MPP NDC in District 2. Would they be trying to compete to see who brought about more?
Yes, because MPP or NDC in District 1 and MPP in District 2, NDC would like to take over District 2. They would always aspire to take over more districts, because that gives you more power, more resources.
Will central government then say, okay, you are with my party, so you get your money this week, and I'll give Nana's money 3 weeks later to give you a head start?
You know the margin by which presidential elections are won? So hold somebody's money and so on, and it will be known to the public that, look, he's discriminating, he's giving money to these people but not to us. And you come one day, president, you need the money. These days, people are rebelling. That last minute road school building, it's not paying. It's not paying out. They're still voting them out. Okay, so we are becoming wiser. And I think our people also have their focus. NCCE survey of August 2015, 69.4% wanted elections to be based on parties, because it's already the parties are need. Let's formalize it rather and hold them accountable, and have that relationship that says, as a politician, you communicate with me about the changes, what you're going to do to solve my problems. I give you this enormous mandate which brings power, decision-making power, control over resources, and solve the problem. And at the end of the day, I live with you. You don't live far away in Accra to build mansions I wouldn't see, but I live with you, your lifestyle and everything. I think it's not so much money that will go to districts automatically. Over time it will grow, but every little money you want to put to good use. Some will still be corrupt, but they will pay a political price for that.
You think the parties would also like put pressure that look, perform so that we get credit?
Yes. I mean, imagine you said one party gets 150, and then after the term, another 4 years, they lose it and they have 50. Your power has diminished in the system. That's what it means. And somebody else has gained that. You see, but this time around, the devolution comes with more resources. It comes with power. It comes with decision making at the local level that the central government cannot interfere with, and so on. And so you can do a lot
It's
more.
also going to be limited to 2 terms?
That hasn't come up yet, whether you can serve only 2 terms. Parliamentarians don't have term limits, but the executive has. So in as much as, the president can serve 2 terms, probably that will be part, when they're going into the details, that will be part of the consideration that you can only serve 2 terms. And you are lucky if you serve 2 terms, because development is going to come to the center, because development is what happens at the local level.
You think they should give them the unlimited time, because, well, if you are performing and the people like you, why should they kick you out?
I think it's something we may have to consider, whether this compulsory 60 years thing. But I think as we create more jobs, the economy grows, and people have more, we need more skilled manpower and so on, and young people are also finding opportunities and so on. We'll be more relaxed to look at that, because this whole thing about retire, have 2 terms, also has to do with, our experience with people monopolizing power. They don't change our situations, but they're sitting there, and we want new people to come with fresh ideas to create more opportunities for us.
Let me take a couple of messages, and then we'll find out, is it not too expensive for us? It's just a short time. And now whether the comfortable, I think my time is up, and now whether the comfortable leaders like it or not, Martin Yamidu has come to take our monies for us. They think they can run away and seek shelter and claim that someone who's witch hunting them. Nothing can save those looted shares, but Lydia and those who power now too should be very wary. But is it not too 30 seconds? Is it not too costly?
To do what?
To open up the floodgates. There's a lot compete in that section too in terms of elections.
No, it's not at all. First of all, look. It's going to have impact on the turbulence of our elections, because the presidency will not be everything. You have other opportunities. A lot of young people, and especially women, are going to get into local government. Chief executives, assembly people, and you're going to see how they're going to fight to solve problems on the ground and aspire for higher office. So there are some strong things, but I think the caution or the anxieties of people also have to be addressed. And I think the public debates and so on will bring that about. But we should be courageous. After all, the party system has worked. Our turnout is amongst the highest in the world. We were very skeptical about parties in 1992. But we worked the system. So let's go now to the next level.
024-366-2001. 024-366-2001. Tantis Fashion, they make the shirts for the show. So don't call them and talk about democracy. Call them and get yourself a shirt. But Doctor has been absolutely fantastic. Wish we had more time to talk on this issue, but I'm sure we've dissected quite enough. Thank you very much. I couldn't catch up with all your messages, but thank you for sending in the messages. We'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you for watching. Doc, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.